Hey, welcome back. So, guys, as part of the today's session, let us see a brief overview on a particular constructor. So, what I have done right now here is I just created a simple program 8script.js, and from the previous program where I have used an inheritance concept where I have created a class animal right with a method, I just copied it and I placed it here for my reference. That's it. So now let us start understanding about this particular constructor. Okay, so what exactly a constructor here is? It's a special function or a method. We can call it either a function or a method, which is used to create and initialize the object basically. Okay, that's fine. Ideally, a kind of a question that comes in our mind. So, Surendra, whenever we were searching about the JavaScript constructor, so there is a small confusion that triggering around. When I was opening that, I was finding some information about, the constructor functions, and a few people are calling it as a constructors. So what is this? What is the confusion and what is the difference between a constructor and as well as a constructor functions? See, basically the simple thing out over there here is before, okay, ES6, we have a constructor functions, and after this particular EX6, I can say that within this particular ES6, the constructor, whatever we are using right now, defined within a class is being used. Okay, is being used. As part of the today's session, let us see how exactly we are going to define a constructor within a class. And in the next session, I'll show you how exactly we can use a constructor function with an example also. I will show you. Okay. With that, let's get started right now. So, what exactly this constructor is, how exactly we can define it. Unlike any other programming languages, can I define a multiple constructors within this particular, okay, within this particular class, just like an overloading? Can this supports a constructor overloading? All those things. Let us get start with an explanation one by one, basically. As said that, this is a special function or a method, right? Ideally, we need to define with one keyword whenever you are writing down in a class, we need to use a constructor keyword. Okay, so now come back to this particular class, and here I'm defining constructor. And here, as part of this particular constructor, okay, what I'm doing here is console.log, a default constructor. That's it. Console.log, a default constructor. Ideally, a kind of a question that comes in our mind. So, Surendra, in other programming languages, consider a Java, by default, there is a constructor, and depending on a need, we were customizing it. Do we have such options here? Of course, we do have the similar option. By default, it does has a default constructor, and based on your need, you can customize this particular constructor also. Okay, based on your need, you can customize this particular constructor. Okay, so here the spelling is wrong. Okay, constructor. That's fine. That's perfectly all right. And how this constructor is being called whenever you have some information within a class. Ideally, whenever we create an object to the class which has a constructor, automatically the code present in the constructor is being called. Okay, let us see an example right now. My class is an example. Animal obj name 11 is equal to new animal. So I just created an object to the class. Apart from that, I haven't called any method here. Now, when I try to run my program right now, the code present in the constructor is being automatically executed. So the key chunk that we need to consider here is the new keyword. So this new keyword is taking that responsibility and it is triggering that particular constructor content. Okay, that's the ultimate chunk basically. So in a simple terms, we can say that it runs automatically whenever you create an object to that particular class using that particular new keyword. Okay, that's perfectly all right. And here, what exactly we can do right now in this current example, we have created a simple constructor, right? So let me try to add one more constructor. Okay, one more constructor, and I'm defining it as a name. So, in other programming languages, we have a constructor overloading. Okay, so we have a constructor overloading. I'm just trying to do this particular constructor overloading here also. So here, console.log given animal name is common name. Okay, now here, while creating the object, I'm giving Ramya. Just to give the name as a Ramya. And when you execute it, see here, a class may only have a one constructor. So that's what the rule that we have studied earlier. So you can't have a multiple constructors. So here, for this particular animal class, whatever you have, right? So it should have only one constructor. So you don't have a multiple constructors, which is clear. So from this, the two critical things that we have studied is we can use a new keyword which will be triggering the constructor, and only one constructor should be there for this particular class. That's gonna be the another chunk. And so let us try to create a constructor with some, okay, let us try to create a constructor with some variables inside that. Now let me comment this whole class. I'm creating a new class, new data inputs. Okay, I have just created a new class with the name as a data inputs. Ideally, I want to create a constructor. So here I'm using this constructor and I'm using a name and as well as a price in this particular chunk. And what are we gonna do here is this dot name is equal to name. And of course, this dot price is equal to price. So you know that as per this, whatever the class information is there that will be pointing, and the right hand side is the constructor. Ideally, you may get a question. So we haven't defined the class variables, but directly we can use it here inside this. Automatically, it will be recognizing them and it will be performing the further operations. Okay, that's fine. And now here, what I am doing right now here is print data is the method that I have in this particular class. So what I am doing right now, so console.log, so name comma price. You know that in order to use the name and a price, we need to use a this dot. So automatically I'm just using this chunk. Outside of this particular class, let obj name 12 is equal to new data inputs class. I'm creating an object. What it's gonna happen whenever you use the new keyword, so this class is having a constructor which is accepting a multiple arguments. So you need to pass on the arguments here. It is accepting a name and as well as a price. So here I'm giving a name as a Surendra and the price is gonna be 12,000. That's it. So I have given this particular information. Now obj name 12 dot print data I'm calling. So with this particular object, the print data is being calling, but here, whatever the inputs that you are giving from this particular object would be substituted as part of a name and as well as a price. So whenever you call this print data, it should print Surendra comma 12,000 to the console. Okay, see here, Surendra comma 12,000 to the console is being printed down to the console. So this is the way, in a simple terms, we can say that using this particular constructor, okay, using this particular constructor, we can pass on the values for the variables that are defined in this particular class. So here we can create a default constructor and we can pass on, okay, we can pass on values for the variables that are defined in this particular constructor. Okay, perfectly all right. So this is a brief overview on this constructor. Of course, whenever we are working on the further automation testing tool, where we will be using this constructor from a class level, and we will be, passing on the values for the variables, okay, that we will be doing in our real world. Anyways, we will see moving further. At this point, this is a brief overview about the constructor. I'm taking a one more session on a constructor functions as part of our next session. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye.